Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lili nishmas mimirosi rusmas Mordechai. Subject: family impact. Dear Belly, thank you for my daily inspiration. Chizuk, enjoyable learning seder. I joined Yeshua during Yevamis and then re-energized my daf. My 14-year-old son Yosef has been wanting to do daf for ages now, and he joined. Thank you to the sponsors of the Arts World Gemara as a way of ensuring a regular learning program during the holidays. Baruch Hashem has really enjoyed your shiurim and learned beautifully throughout the holidays. By the way, in England, vacation is a holiday. In America, holiday is a yontif, and only shkotzim say holiday. So don't think he's a shegitz. He's a frum guy. But to me, this says a lot. Typically, children this age are watching stuff, are just bored out of their mind, or one of the craziest things I was thinking is that game that they have on the plane on the back of the seat. And people are going like this. And the guy's his head goes like that. The entire flight. Ding, 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 ding. Who thought of that? But this kid, 14-year-old kid, is learning Torah on a plane. It's unbelievable. Baruch Hashem has really enjoyed Yeshurim and learned beautifully throughout the holidays. Please see him learning en route and video of your good morning chizuk for the whole family. Wishing you continued bracha hatzlacha with your learning and impact. Oh yeah, I forgot to put the Jonathan Stefansky video. Okay, Beis Hashem. Chodesh Tov, Gordon Cooper, London, UK. Here it is. No, this is yours. So what happened? No, they also have one. Okay, let's see if I can find that one. But here, this is Yosef Erman's kid. Lakewood. He has the whole routine. Lakewood, get over here. I don't know what happened to that video. We have to find it. It's not here? Okay, that was a good one we sent on the boat. Yesterday, yeah. Eved Hashem says, just listen to the shir today. Awesome as always. As soon as I was done with today's shir, discussion of a patch that what went wrong in last generation. I see this attached in the news. So basically, it's a serious article here that I read the entire thing that came out in a real newspaper. I forgot which one. One of the famous ones in America. It says, not one of those. It says like this: they're bringing back corporal punishment to Missouri. The parents are saying that in the school they do positive reinforcement and they do detention and all that, but for some kids it just doesn't work. And parents that opt in, you have to sign your name. They bring back the paddle. You can't hit the face, no this, but the paddle. 2 whacks for kids that are under 12, 3 whacks for kids under, I'm not kidding you. A whole article here, and it says parents are really excited about this because finally some of their kids will be put into their place. Don't forget about, here, the positive reinforcement, we love it. That works with a lot of kids, he said. However, some kids play the game and their behaviors aren't changing. The district hopes the possibility of corporal punishment is a deterrent. We understand. Mamash yesterday. It's a bit of a shock factor just to have that as a tool. Again, I'm not going into it. By the way, whoever's hating on me, just remember there's a pasuk. You take away that rod, that stick, you hate your son. It's a pasuk. Go explain it. I know every psychologist is going to say different things. What? Spare the rod, spoil the child. Spare the rod, spoil the child. It's okay. It's a very strong lashon. You hate your son when you take away, you spare the rod. I know that every Rav and I never even hear people talking like that. But I like the Shak Do'ilam. I started the daf at the beginning of Kesubos, inspired by my friend Jack Stepner, and father-in-law, Rav Josh Brody. Rav Josh Brody is inspiring other people to do daf with us. That's a chiddush. Yishkoyach Rav Josh. Oh yeah, no, Josh Brody, yeah, that's not a chiddush. No, he does the daf with us. From Boca, yeah. I'm mixed them up. I'm currently on with my wife. While I didn't get to learn the daf until later in the day, I thought it was a great opportunity to bring some MDY Kedusha on our hike in the Italian Alps. Have a great day, Jack Manis. Check out these Manoira Neflois Hashem.
Good morning, Rabbi Shai.
You should go away. Inspired by Jack Step.
Who?
Inspired by Jack Step. Very clean.
Yeah, why?
He's been here. He lives here. big fan of the shoe.
Yeah, Jack Stepner. All right, here he is. This is Shimi Leafman. He's since Sukkot, he's looking for a place to do the Siyum in Manchester when I come there for Kesubos. He's checking out potential sites, he says here. Okay. Rabbi Isai, the Koilo. Rabbi Leo. See, I remember your name because of the picture. Salam. How do you pronounce it? Selam. Very nice. Oh, and here he is. You hear? Okay. With the tefillin and everything. The Koilo is sponsored this month by Anonymous for all the new people that joined the Masechtas Kesubos, and sponsored by Avi and Rachel Kamyansky, Menor Rachel. Rachel's mother raised a Gittel Bas Esther. Rita should be a Melitza Yosher on behalf of us and our children. The Masechta is sponsored by Molandi, Eli Stefansky, Baruch Ben Moshe Aaron, and Eli Stefansky Elazar Ben Shalom for that sub for my children. The second Masechta sponsor, Jeff Rosner, in zchus my son, Yosef Simcha Chaim, Ben Sara Klein, Refuah Shlaima. Parnas Achodesh, Benjy Estie Israel Family, memory of our Zayde Moshe Menora and 3 cousins, Sara Klein, Ricki Racheli Menora on the 12th yahrzeit. The neshamos should all have an aliyah. Second sponsor, Dr. Avrum Epstein, in memory of my precious Southern Belle, wife, mother, and grandmother, Rita Gay Epstein. Third sponsor, Michael Bamela, Motty Perl Aaron Hirsch, was supposed to be here. I know because he's sleeping in my house. Probably missed his alarm. To be zayde to make it to Uman Rosh this year. He actually came from Uman straight to my house. Mamish, I felt the fourth Parnas Eli neshamos Chaim and Parnas Yomi Yitzie and Ruchie Pariser, Pariser, in memory of our Bubby Ricki Doppelt Rivkah Bas Shevach. How? Pariser? Shidduch for Fego Chana Bas Shendel Pesha and Alon Zak, because Rebelli is the greatest soft salesman. Okay, Shmuli Katz, in honor of Chaim Gwartzman as Akar Satoiv for convincing me to join the Daf. Shkoyach, Akar Satoiv, Rabbi say, Elio, okay, MASSIHESRAELIAN. Bracha hatzlacha for my family and all of Klal Yisrael. Anonymous. Elio Anonymous. Bracha hatzlacha for my family and all of Klal Yisrael. And, Ezi. Yishkoyach, you're here, I want to say Yishkoyach for doing the internet, the high-speed internet. We can't get internet into the building. He lives next door and he did this whole thing. We have like these special, it's high-tech stuff. Also, I want to wish, because today, Punkt, is yesterday, I think it was 2 days ago, the last day for the Lach family. They're the sponsor. It happens to be, it's their 40th wedding anniversary, so mazel tov to the Lachs. And here we go. Rabbi say top of Nun Aleph Amud Aleph. 2 lines down. That means we are 50 daf into Kesubos. 50 daf into Kesubos. Bell works. It was 50 days ago. It's unbelievable. Au Yosef Yisoima. Dosel Kamei the Rava. It's Mamshas Katan. We're going to go through a bunch of different sugyas from Bamitzia to Gittin and everything in between. So you have a Yosef Yisoima, an orphan, a girl, a boy. They're with an apotropos, they have a representative, they come to Rava. Amul Rava, she wants to eat. So he said, take some of the metaltalin. When you're giving the boy, take out extra cash and you'll have food for the girl. So they said, what do you mean? And we're going to finish off the sugya like that. It's Rava himself who paskins Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back to all the guests, by the way, all the new guys, all the guys that I haven't met yet. Shalom Aleichem to you. Okay. You don't understand how much I controlled saying I wish I didn't, but you, Rava himself, said that you could only give the girls mezainas from karkais, from real estate, and not from movable objects, not from metalton. So why are you telling the apitropas to go take out double from the bank account or for whatever and give the girl? Bein lemezainas, what does Rava say? Whether it's for food, for sustenance, just regular food, bread and water. Bein leksuba, whether it's for the main part of the ksuba, ubein leparnasa, and whether it is the added stuff, the nedunya that we spoke about. the nedunya. Okay, so everything comes from real estate. No real estate, you don't take. So says Rava, what if this boy, he says, listen, I need cleaning help. I need a maid service in my house. Who's going to do the laundry? Who's going to cook? So, it's without a shot, we're going to go get him a maid. That's part of it. Certainly, we should be mefarnas the sister because she does house chores. It's just normal. She'll throw in a load of laundry. She'll do the dishes once in a while. So let's support her. Plus, she's a sister. We have two good things going for her. Okay, I just remembered Rabbi Sachar Meir from Yeshivat HaNegev. He always used to say he has a tremendous hakar satayv to his sister who went out to work. She worked in a pardes, in an orchard somewhere, so that he could learn Torah. He always used to mention he has a lot of hakar satayv to his sister. So I was just saying, like, it's not you. She's not a maid. She's enabling her brother to learn Torah. Says the Gemara Torah Rabbana. Sometimes people hear these words, they start thinking about Bekama, about Bastion, they start getting nervous. It's Daf Yomi. We're almost at a Mishnah, we're going on to the next sugya. But achrayis and not achrayis is very simple. Real estate, not real estate. Achrayis means a guarantee, no guarantee. Real estate is guaranteed. You can't hide real estate, you can't move it anywhere, you can't. If you sell something, or if, let's say, this woman has a ksuba, and it's attached to the real estate, it's not going anywhere. And even if the husband sells it, it's guaranteed, it's hers. She's going to go to whoever purchased it and take it away from them. So that's achrayis. It has a guarantee. Says the Gemara, whether or not you have real estate. It's not real estate. It's metaltalin. Rava said a second ago that we only use real estate. But it says we give even from metaltalin for the mazon isha of habanos. Divi Rebbe. And we argue on Rebbe. No, only real estate. So let's go a little slow here. So if you have, if you read it quickly, it could get confusing. But it's very, very simple. If you have real estate, you take food for the girls from the real estate. For the girls, and you take it from the boys. The boys get the inheritance, but you have to deduct for the girls support. What if you have an older generation, right? The older kids are used to taking the father's credit card and his car. They put him in the nursing home. They took care of him. Then you have the younger kids, the younger generation, 10-year-olds. The older ones think that they're it. They take over the business. They start. So the younger girls, they say, if there are no boys, what happens? Yerusha goes to the girls. All the girls, not just the older girls that took care of the parents. It doesn't work like that. Everybody gets equal. So the younger girls could take away whatever the older girls grab. There's no grabbing when it comes to Yerusha. Now, once they get their share of the inheritance, there's no more mezainis. There's no, you got to eat. You just got a building. You got one of the father's real estate buildings. That's yours. No more mezainis. Vila abanim and abanim. There's no girls, only boys. Again, the older boys think that they have the best relationship with the father. He probably wanted to give over all his assets to him because he was so close to him and he took care of him for the last 22 years. No. All the assets are divided equally. B'char gets 2 parts, the rest, whatever the halachas are. And you remove properties from the girls to give to the boys. When there are a lot of assets. In other words, there are enough assets to support the girls until they become 12 and a half, boygros, then you remove everything and give it to the boys, and the boys support them. If there are very few assets, then the girls get everything to sustain them. They must be sustained. What about the boys? In this case, the boys go knocking on doors. The boys, like we said, it's something a boy does and not a girl. So over here is a case where the boys get less than the girls. Okay, it's rare, but it happens. So here's the problem. Not the problem, but here's the machlokes. Nechasim she'ein lohem achrayos. If you have movable objects, moitzim labanim min abanim, then no boy could take more than the other. We split it, we divide it equally. Vilabanos min abanos. One of the most, for me, hard concepts to understand is in Yerusha. It just, if you think about it, a person, halachically, there's nothing to do with the sugya, but we're talking about banos min abanos, and it always bothered me. There's the svara to it, but a great-grandchild girl, if somebody has a great-grandchild girl, she gets the Yerusha before the daughter of the nifter. That's how it works. If a guy dies and he has a son who has a daughter, that little girl, that 2-year-old, takes all the nechasim. But the guy that died has a daughter. She doesn't get anything. It's annoying. It's annoying. Shalom. But that's the halacha. She's so far removed. She never met her grandfather. She's a little tiny kid. She was a month old when the guy died. She gets everything. Because the way Yerusha works goes through the sons. And that daughter turns into a son. Okay, fine. Go at a different time when we learn that sugya. But if there's only girls, then they divide it equally. And when it comes to movable objects, the girls have nothing. Why? Because you're saying, but they should be supported. You're not supported from movable objects. You're only supported from real estate. And we're talking about movable objects, metaltalin, so that the banim take everything from the banos. Avaloi, labanos, menabanim, and the girls don't take anything from the boys because they're not supported from metaltalin. So what are we saying here? That you don't give support from metaltalin. So we have one Rebbe, the author of the Mishnah, says that you do give the girl support from the pianos and the cars. The guy has a Ferrari, you sell it off. Yeah, that's Rebbe. Chum say no. You don't give any support to the girl, even though he has $200 million worth of movable assets. You don't give them anything. Typically in Shas, Rebbe is always right. When it's a one-on-one with anybody in Shas, Rebbe wins. In this case, Elazar. How do I know? Because that's what we just started off the sugya. Hilchasa. The halacha, Rava says, the halacha is support comes from real estate and not from movable objects. Bein l'ksuva, whether it's for the main part of the ksuva, the 100, the 200, bein l'mizayne, whether it's in the ksuva that says they have to support the daughters and the wife, all the mizaynas, bein l'farnasa. Okay. The Shulchan Aruch says over here that even though Medina the Gemara, that's the lashon of the Shulchan Aruch, Medina the Gemara, it says that you only support girls from real estate, but the Ga'ayin and Paskin today that we support girls from metaltalin as well. Besides, Ksubas Bonim Dichrin, and I'm throwing it out there so we remember that concept. We're all over Shas. Ksubas Bonim Dichrin is you only pay up if there's added stuff in the ksuba and the boys of that woman inherit their mother's ksuba. It's only from karka, not from metaltalin. Okay. Says the Heilige Mishnah, the official Mishnah sponsored by. I have to go back here. Where is it? Moshe. Who was it? Who? Moshe Cohen. Hatzlacha and Living a Torah and okay, whatever. He's happy now because you knew about pen. He knew it. Okay. Says the Mishnah. Loi kasav l'ksuba. What if a person doesn't write a ksuba? Doesn't write a ksuba. It's automatic. It doesn't matter if he writes a ksuba 200, 100. Says the Mishnah, even without writing anything. Psula goyim Messiah. She gets the full amount. The almana gets her full amount. Why? You can't go around a condition that Bezdin put in. Oh, it's right here, Emma Gemara. It was just covered by this. The official mission is sponsored by Moshe Cohen, hatzlacha, limud Torah, and parnas. Okay, fine, you got it. Kosav law. What if he decides, let me be very specific. I have a small little machsan or a mapet shemesh. You know, people here, they take their parking lot and a parking spot and they build walls and they rent it out to people. So I don't know if it's worth as much as a whole ksuba. Maybe based on what they've said, $1,500 it definitely is. But okay, let's say I'm going to give that piece of property towards the ksuba, which is less than 200. Here's another big thing. It doesn't say in the ksuba achrayis. There's no guarantee. He's not guaranteeing your ksuba against his property. There's no collateral. Like ksuba chayav, he's chayav to give her the entire 200 from other properties. Shutnai bezdin, again, he can't break the condition of the bezdin. Now, these two halachas that we just learned, we're going to see, the Gemara says it's one is Remeir, one is Rabbi Yehuda. We learned two halachas here. Even though he didn't write the amount at all, he didn't write the ksuba at all, there is a ksuba. And even though he wrote a ksuba, but he wrote a different amount in the ksuba, you get the full amount. Loi kasav, im tishtabai, if you get captured, afar kinoch, I'm going to pay the ransom, I'm going to redeem you, v'isvinoch li into, and you're going to remain my wife. He didn't write that. Or he didn't write by a kohenes. Now, it's very sad, but a kohenes, a woman who's married to a kohen who was violated, she must get divorced from her husband. Her husband just can't say, okay, you're here. Has to take her in a car, put her on a plane, bring her all the way back to where she came from. Chayav. He must do it, shutnai bezin, again. He can't get out of it. Even though it's not written, he has to take care of it. Nishbes, if she was captured, he must redeem her, vim omar. But if he said, haregito ksuba, here, ksubasa, very nice, I'm very sorry for you, you just came out of captivity, you're there for 10 years, here's a present, here's your get. And there's an envelope that has all the money in there, and let you take care of the ransom. You deal with them. It's his achrayos. As we said, he gets payros. Everybody remember, you get payros instead of redeeming. He gets ma'aseh yadayim instead of because he supports her. The thing that's common with the thing that's common. Support versus salary. Redeeming, which is not common versus the payros at the nursing home. Laksa, if she got sick, chayav l'rapoisa. So Rashi says a very interesting lashon. You have to pay for the doctors, for the medical. Why refuah kimazayna, says Rashi. It's in the same category as sustaining a woman. Omar aregitu ksubasa, and if he tells her, here, take a get. I don't want to be married to a sick woman. Here's a get, a nice guy. Uksubasa terape es atzma rashoy. Here's the ksuba. Go pay the doctor bills yourself. It's permitted. Very interesting. I don't want to get into it, but there's a famous Rebbe Chanan Wasserman who says that mizainas is not mammon. You don't look at it as a monetary obligation. So let's say a person gets divorced and he didn't give his wife food that day. He doesn't owe her that food. So memela, you just give her the ksuba, you take care of it. Whereas to be paid a woman, that is a monetary obligation, and that you can't just dump it and say you take care of it. Okay. We can't go buy something like this without saying the famous Reb Aryeh Levine, who said about his wife to the doctor, our foot hurts. Yeah? Famous. Okay. Zog the Gemara. Mani, who does our Mishnah go according to? Oh, here's chart number 1. Oh no. Here, let's just do this one. Here. This is actually chart number 1. In the ratio of the Mishnah, it says, if you didn't write a ksuba at all, you get a full ksuba. Who does that go according to? Rabbi Meir. That must be Rabbi Meir. Domar. If you don't give the regular amount of a ksuba, it's as if you're married without a ksuba. So now the Gemara understands, even in a case where she's moichel, he tells his wife, I want to be married to you. I want to get married, but I can't afford a ksuba. Could you please be moichel me the ksuba? Of course. Who's thinking about getting divorced? Who's thinking about death? I'm moichel. Even in such a case, it's not good. You can't be moichel. It's a full ksuba. Dear Rabbi Yehuda, Ha'amar Rotza. I forgot to tell you. There's an interesting Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein here. There's a little neged to me. What if a woman is very sick, Rahman al-Islam, and the doctors give up on her or whatever, and there's alternative medicine? So I had experience with it. When my mother was very sick, there's nothing they could do. There's no more chemo, nothing. But in Mexico, I think I mentioned this a few times. Mexico, there's a hospital right over the border because in America it's illegal. They could cure stage 4 cancer, no problem. And they give you 3 phone numbers. You call up and they say, yeah, pancreatic cancer, 100%, stage 4. You just take a bunch of green, they chop a bunch of leaves and you drink it. After a few days, you already see differences. And hyperbaric chambers, you just lay in a hyperbaric chamber, it cures all cancers. Tell my father, stop with this. Her last few weeks, going to spend in Mexico $20,000 a week, crazy monies. But Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein asked, I don't know if I told you, I'm sure I told you this, we were there. On the first day, a guy comes in with stage 4 cancer, asked my brothers, Maisa Shahaya, comes in stage 4 cancer. The next morning, he jumped off the roof, right there. Anyways, then they lied to my mother. They told my mother that, oh, look, your numbers are going down. They're going down. And then after 2 weeks, because she got excited, so she pays more money to stay for another week. And then they said, oh, they made a mistake. They forgot to put in 2 zeros. The numbers went up instead of that. Okay. Anyway, so then people say, no, alternative medicine works. I got it. Okay. I'm not going into that parsha. I'm just saying, what if a woman wants alternative medicine when most of the doctors of the world say don't do it? It doesn't work, whatever. Is there a roiv, not a roiv? He goes into the whole shaila, and then at the end he paskins. I'm not saying a psak. This is Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein. He says, if that what makes the woman happy and that's her ratzon, then there might be a chiyuv. Okay. Says the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda himself says, and we have to remember this, Rabbi Yehuda says, you could do whatever you want when it comes to ksuba. It's a monetary obligation that a husband has to his wife. She could lie. She could make a star and say, I got from you 100, even though she didn't. She could be Michael. So, in other words, we understand that this is what we're talking about. This is the case, that she's Michael. And in the Mishnah says you can't be Michael. Rabbi Yehuda says you could be Michael. The Gemara is going to say maybe that's not what's going on here. Maybe we're not talking about a case of Mechila. Okay. And by Almana, which it starts out with 100, she'll say, listen, I'm Michael half of it. How do you do that? You write a receipt that says, I received half, even though she never received half. Okay. So the Reisha in blue is Rebbe Meir. The problem is Seifa, Ema Seifa. Now let's look at the second case in the Mishnah. The case is, he said here, the only thing I'm giving you is this little tiny parking spot. It's not worth your ksuba. And also, he didn't write achrayis. There's no warranty. There's no guarantee to the ksuba. Chayav shutnai bezdin. Now that can't be Remeir. That has to be Rabbi Yehuda. So what's the question? That the Reisha is Remeir and the Seif is Rabbi Yehuda. What does it say here? Now we have a new concept that we didn't speak about. Achrayus to Sefer, very, very simple. This idea that real estate and a shtar that talks about real estate is a guarantee. What if you forgot it in the shtar? What if you wrote a shtar without it? Rabbi Yehuda says the reason why you didn't write it, Taos, you Pashat forgot. In other words, it exists, it's there. You still have a guarantee. It's just you forgot to do it. Every time you don't see it in a shtar, it's only because the cipher forgot it. In other words, every shtar inherently has a guarantee, whether you wrote it or not. Remeir holds, no. If you took it out on purpose. So there's no guarantee. So that's exactly what we're talking about over here. Achrayis to cipher. Dear Remeir, achrayis left to cipher. Remeir says, I took it out of the shtar. I wrote something. I said, you only get half of the ksuba. I know what I'm doing. I did it on purpose. I don't want to give you a full ksuba. And it's, so, what? So there's achrayis. Dir Remeir Omar achrayis lafta soiferu. Remeir says that if I took it out, I know what I'm doing. It's not a mistake. It's on purpose. It's not a matzah shit rechayiv. A person finds a star in the street, if it says mefurish that there's a guarantee and that he has to pay no matter what, lo yahrzeit. You don't give the star back. You don't know whose it is. It could be the loivas, it could be the malvas. If the malva got it, in other words, the loan was completely paid off, and the malva gave the star to the loiva, then it's the loivas. If the loan wasn't paid off, then it's the malvas. I don't know whose it is. Don't give it back to anybody. Now, why not? Because since there's a guarantee, maybe they made a knunya. Maybe the loiva paid back the loan, but they made a deal between themselves. Let's pretend that I didn't, and now I'm going to sell property, you're going to sell property, and we're going to go back and we're going to grab the property out of the purchaser because there's a lien on the property based on the shtar. You can make a little trick here, a knunya. The malva got his money back. The malva lent the loiva $1 million. The loiva paid it back. Now the malva is clean. Now the malva wants to make more money. What does he do? He says, he goes to the guy that bought the property from the loiva, and he says, the loiva had no permission to sell you this property. He never paid me. Here, I have a shtar. So if you're going to give the shtar back, and there's a guarantee in the shtar, now we're going to grab the building in Manhattan worth $1 million from the purchaser of the loiva. But it's not true. The purchaser was able to buy because it was already paid, the loan was paid back. But they're pretending it wasn't paid back. Because it's a lie. He doesn't have money. He's destitute. The loiva is gone. Hey, he's broke. He went bankrupt. I don't have a dime to my name, but I did sell you a building for $1 million. So now the malva is going to take the building for $1 million. He's going to give the loiva $500,000. They're going to split. He's not an idiot. He's in on this. They're both going to split the building. Get off him. We just turned to Avrum Beis, sponsored by Mishon and Zach Rock, Rockland, and Lenny Lerner, CPA. The second sponsor is zchus, being able to support Limit Torah and to finish learning shots with the rebellion. Huh? I hear. Yeah, but you don't get involved. They want to be involved, fine. But you, who are you giving it back to? But if there's no guarantee and you can't grab real estate from this, yahrzeit, so give it back. Shame bezin efroim, because bezin is not going to do anything with it anyways. Rabbi Yehuda says, echad zeh vechad zeh lo yahrzeit shebezin efroim. Akoponim, we have a problem. Comes out that the Reisha is the Sefer Rabbi Yehuda. That what? That if you didn't write achrayas, right? That's the second case. It doesn't mention anything about a guarantee. Automatically, there's a guarantee. That's what Rabbi Yehuda says. Automatically, there's a guarantee. Achrayas toy sefer. There's a guarantee whether you write it or not. He just made a mistake in not putting it in there. Says the Gemara, typical classic Gemara. Okay, so now we're going to try to say the whole Mishnah is Remeir. So what's the problem? Sorry, did I say I missed something here? You're going to say that in our Mishnah is talking about a ksuba, and ksuba there is a Torah cipher. In other words, there's a chrayis, no matter what. A ksuba has a chrayis. Ksuba is different than everything else. But no, okay, nice try. But we see mefurish that Remeir doesn't make a distinction between a ksuba and a regular shtar. How do we see it? What's this word mechurarim? Mechurarim means real estate that the person himself owns versus nechasim shubadim. So you have mechurarim. Eluhein peiros v'shevach peiros. There's a guy that I know very well who did this in a certain country. He sold real estate that wasn't his. He put a big sign with his name on it. They said, so-and-so properties. He brought a big veer. He said, this is my property. I don't know how he did it. In that country, I guess you could do it. And the guy fell for it. At the end, it ruined the guy's life. The guy got all his money back. Everything was great. But what happens is, you buy this property, it's not even yours. And then you renovate it. You start putting money into it. The original owner comes, what's the halacha? The original owner comes and he takes it. He doesn't have to ask any questions. He takes everything with all the renovations, everything. With a field, a guy buys a field and he plows it and he seeds it and he works it, and then there's wheat. There's the whole thing. He comes and takes everything, the wheat and everything. So that's called peiros B'shvach peros. The money you put into the field and the actual wheat that comes out of the field. Now that's not a davar kotzav, says Rashi. There's no money, there's no value to it. So you never guarantee that. When you're selling something, you can't guarantee something that doesn't have a kitzvah, that doesn't have an amount. I don't know how much that's worth. I don't know how much your renovation is. One kabbalah takes $1 million, one takes $100. It's just so Mela, you could only grab from the free fields. In other words, you have a ganav. This ganav has a house. He lives in a house, a ganav. So that's a free piece of real estate. Had he sold his house, you can't go after the house that the ganav sold. Why? Because the person that bought the house, he doesn't know how much he invested in the field, how much it cost to plow, and how much the wheat is worth, and how much this. You can't. That's a davar she'ein kotzav. Okay. If he takes upon himself to support his stepson, his stepdaughter, again, I don't know how much that's going to cost me every year. I don't know what seminary she's going to get into. I don't know if she's going to get into school at all. You have no idea how much it costs. V'get choiv. Now, Rashi points out on the spot, erase the word get in your mind. It means a shtar. Shtar choiv. She'ein bo yachrayis. So this is the question of the Gemara right here. At least you see the raya that Remeir holds. Shtar choiv. Ein bo yachrayis. Any document that doesn't have a guarantee, and Kesubos isha she'ein bo yachrayis. You see, he puts the two things together. You want to make a distinction between a ksuba and a regular shtar. Maybe a ksuba, he says tol soifer. There is achrayis. No. A ksuba doesn't have achrayis. A shtar doesn't have achrayis. It's all in the same category. Man shamas leidoma achrayis lavto soifer. Who holds that it's not a mistake from the soifer? He did it on purpose. He took it out, and there's no guarantee. Rebbe Meir, and he put them together. At the end of the day, I can say our Mishnah goes either according to Rebbe Meir, either according to Rebbe Yehuda. And if it's Rebbe Yehuda, so let's look at the chart for a second. What's the problem if it's Rebbe Yehuda? The Reisha. Because it says in the Reisha that if you didn't write a ksuba, she gets 200, but it's not true. Rebbe Yehuda holds you could be moichel. She's moichel to 200. Why does our Mishnah say she gets 200? Teretz is Hasam Kasvaleis Kabalti. Over there where it says that she could be moichel, Rebbe Yehuda says Mufurish she could be moichel ksuba because she wrote with her handwriting, I got the ksuba. In other words, that's a mechila. But in our Mishnah, she gets the full 200 because, yes, let's say she told him, let's get married. Yeah, don't worry about the ksuba. But she only said it. She never wrote it. Mela, he has to pay the 200. Our Mishnah could be going according to Remeir. And what's the problem? The seifa. That in the seifa it says that if you don't write mefurish in the shtar, that there's achrayis, you have to give her achrayis. But Remeir says you don't have to give her achrayis. Lavto soiferhu. It's a little, okay, the concepts are a little interesting. It's Babantzia stuff. Great, we're almost done with it. Now what? Lavto soifer. It's not a mistake of the soifer, and therefore you don't get a guarantee. So how come our Mishnah says you do get a guarantee? It's not a real guarantee. It's a guarantee from real estate that he never sold. So, okay, fine. In the beginning we thought they could be moichel. Now we say you can't be moichel. Fine. Says the Gemara. New sugya, brand new sugya. If it's too hard for you, tol soifer, not tol soifer, this kind of stuff, brand new sugya, but seriously, easier stuff. Loi kosav law. If you didn't write in the ksuba that if you get captured, I'm going to rescue you. Omer avud Shmuel. Comes the father and Shmuel, drops a big bomb and runs away. Eishes Yisrael shenenza. If any woman in the world was violated, asura lebala. She has to get divorced on the spot. We know this halach to be for a kohen. No, even a non-kohen. Why? We have to be chayshish. Yes, she was violated, but what if in middle she changed her heart? She benefited from it. Zahana, whatever it is, and she became a ratzon. We have to be chayshish for that. What about Esther Amalka? Taisus asked the kasha. He says Esther was a tzedekis gemura, and she could remain with her husband. Okay. Rav Lavu the Shmuel comes Rav and asks a bomb kasha on this bomb. It says in our Mishnah, what do you write in the ksuba? If you'll be captured, I will redeem you. And what's the next word? And you'll be my wife again. Huh. It says mefurish, we're not chayshish, that maybe it was beratzen. Ishtik. He didn't say anything. So When I first read it, I thought, Ishtik, because it was a grand slam, that's it, checkmate. He got him good from the Mishnah. No. Kari Rav Alei, Davud Shmuel, so Rav read the Pasuk, Sarim, Otzru, Bemilim, they stopped their words, these ministers, V'chaf, Yosimu, Lefim, they put their hand on their mouth. In other words, they could answer, they don't want to answer. He felt, I'm not going to answer you. So what could have he answered that's so good? Bishvui, Kilu. We're talking about to redeem your wife when she was captured. We don't know that she was violated. There's a good chance she was with the Goyim, but we don't know for sure. Okay. Masha'enkin anenas. We're talking about a case that a woman was violated, 100% violated. There we have to be chayshish. Maybe there's rotzen, maybe there wasn't rotzen. In our Mishnah, we don't know that she was violated in the first place. Maybe she wasn't. Maybe she's completely dark. Says the Gemara, according to you, that every single woman in the world has to get divorced from her husband. So we're in the world, we have a case, as the Gemara is going to bring soon. There's a case of a woman who's nenas, and she could go back to her husband. If we have testimony that she did not enjoy 1 second, she was screaming the entire time, that's a aynus from beginning to end. Upligi the Rava. Now the Gemara says an incredible thing here. Doma Rava. Kol shetchilasa ba'aynus v'soy b'ratzon. Anytime it started out with the aynus, even listen to this, I'll say about that. Even if the woman says, I enjoyed it so much that I'm willing to pay money for it, that's nothing, says Rava. Why? Because once it started ba'aynus, she was violated and she did it against her will, what happens afterwards is completely against her control and her ability to say anything. It was an aynus, so we consider it a violation through and through. It doesn't matter, she benefited, didn't benefit. It's not even her, it's not her bechira to benefit or not benefit. That's just either a natural thing that happened or not. Says the Gemara, I would have paid him muteres. She's still muter. My time yetzer albasha. That's just a natural thing that happened, and it's the yetzer. In fact, why is it called gilui arayas? What does gilui arayas mean? Arayas. What's gilui arayas? The idea is that the isser is to be megala, to reveal. That's when it happens. That moment. From that point on, you're already you don't have bchira almost. There's no bchira. So the isser is the gilui, not to put yourself in that situation, not the yichud, the text message, the conversation, whatever it is. That the first step. That's the problem. After that, a person can say, "Oh, I was honest," but that's not a good teretz. The taina is on the first step, and that's what the Gemara says here. Once a person passed the first step, and that first step was a complete oinus, we consider you, HaKadosh Baruch considers you a complete oinus here. Tanya, you say the Rava, v'lo nispasa by Eshesish. She wasn't forced, so maybe she gets misa. She wasn't forced. Asura. Hanispasa, but if she was forced, muteris. She's allowed to go back to her husband. The Gemara is going to give us a few cases here. You have a woman who, even though she wasn't forced, she's muter, our case, she wasn't forced. In other words, part of the act wasn't forced, but the start was forced. That's all we care about. She was not a balas bchira at the point when she was not forced. And maybe she's mutter to go back to her husband. Tanya Yidach, another thing, 3 things we're going to say here. V'iloi nispasa, she wasn't forced. Asura, hanispasa muteres. V'eshlecha cheres, and there's a woman, shav bishin nispasa, even though she was forced, asura. We have a woman, we have a case, it's a riddle. What's a case of a woman who is forced, violated, and she's also the husband? It's Chaim. It's mamish, she's 100% screaming, she doesn't want you, too bad, she has to get divorced from her husband. The Chaim. Another case, very, very interesting case. We once spoke about it. A woman who was not forced, she's mutter to her husband. Unbelievable case. If a person makes a deal with his wife, it's a tonight. You are married to me on condition you do 24 somersaults. And she goes ahead, she marries him, and then she's mizana. She's mizana, ish. If she doesn't do the 24 somersaults, then she was never married to her husband. So she was never mizana. She's not a mizana. And therefore, what? She can marry her husband. And she can marry the guy she was mizana with. She can marry anybody she wants. Because it wasn't znus. She's never married to the first one. Massive chiddush. She has a child from him. She doesn't fulfill the t'nai. And that's it. And the story. I saw a couple of very interesting things. I'll say real quick. It's mamish late. The Mutzal Me'esh, he lived about 150 years ago, wrote Sefer 150 years. He asked a question. What if a woman wanted to be over Eishesish? She said, L'shem yichud Eishesish. And it turns out that her husband was dead at that point. Her husband went on a business trip. So I'll be over on Eishesish. Turns out that her husband got killed in a crash on his trip. So is she also to this guy or not? She had intent to be mizana, but she wasn't mizana. And Ramosha asked the same question, the opposite. A woman, a Maisa Shahaya, I think it was, maybe not. A woman came, she thought she got a get. It was a simple document. They told her, sign here, it's a get. And she got married based on it. But she thought she's not mizana. But turns out she was mizana, wasn't even a get. Is she usher or not usher? Okay. Let's just do two more lines here. Omer Rav Yehuda, by the way, Motzei Shabbos is going to be in Yerushalayim after rush from Yerushalayim here, so 10 o'clock. Yosef, he'll tell everybody what time it really is. Omer Rav Yehuda, these women that were kidnapped, right? In the Torah it says Leisignov means what? Kidnapping. Doesn't mean don't steal. Kidnappers kidnap her. They're mutter to their husbands. We're not chayshish that they did a baratzin. But they're making food for them. They're only making food because they're scared for their lives. This reminded me of the Stockholm syndrome. Everybody knows about this, but in the 70s, some of the 6 people were captured, and when they were trying to release them, the captured people were helping the people that captured them. So it's called the Stockholm syndrome. It reminds me of this, like, they're helping them with the guns, getting them the arrows ready, this, that. So says Gemara, no, machmasiro. You don't know for a fact. Maybe they're scared that because don't help them with the guns, they'll get killed. You'll run away. But maybe they won't get killed, and then they'll kill you for not helping them. But if they go back to the ganovim, to the kidnappers on their own, asiron, then they are also to their husbands. Have a wonderful Shabbos, a wonderful day. Shkoyach for everybody.